I got an issue. I've seen religion creep into the church, passivity, knowledge without action. It produces nothing but puffy people, deep, with no results.
Welcome to a new episode of Covenant Connection. You'll receive an anointed and refreshing message today from Pastors Duane and Carolyn Broom.
You can receive all God has for you. Covenant Connection.
See, I don't want you to sit here and take notes, but I want you to take notes. But don't sit here and try to tell, well, I'm in school. Yeah, you're in school, but this is Holy Ghost school where you need to be hearing what God is saying to you. Yeah, the word is going forth. I had a man tell me yesterday, man was checking me out. So he watched Covenant Connection. How many of you know we got a website? Yes. How many of you know that you can send people to the website so they can find out what kind of church you go to? That's the easiest evangelism tool that you can use. And so this man, he's a word man. He's a man of the word and a man of the spirit. He's a psalmist in his church. And he said, yeah, because somebody had asked him about me, so he checked me out. And he looked at all these broadcasts, and he said, well, everything he teaches that I've heard lines right up with the word. Everything I say may not give you chapter and verse, but it's coming out of chapter and verse. See, in this environment, many of you are going to hear the same words, but you're going to hear something different. Guys, everybody in here doesn't come with the same thing they need. You come with different needs. You come with different things that you got to address in your life. And so God's talking to you about one thing, you about something else, and I'm saying one thing and you're hearing different things. And so you want to come with your heart ready to hear, but don't just hear, you got to do. There's this book in the Bible, right after the Gospels. It's called the book of Acts. You know what an Acts is? They might as well have called the book of action. They didn't sit there, oh, the Holy Ghost spoke, and we just sat here and we basked in the presence of God. No, they got up and went and did what the Holy Ghost said. My God, what a marvel idea. Just doing what God said. And look what happened. They evangelized the whole world. And it's still going on. It kind of slowed down a bit because people got lazy. Got a little intimidated. In the absence of fear, what would you do? If you didn't fear what people were going to think or people were going to say about you, what would you do? If you knew that you were right and if God told you to do something, what would you do? What have you not done that God told you to do? Because fear was present. You know the only person that can eradicate fear from your life? It's you. It's you. And you can do it. You got to understand, fear, most of the time, fear is just that, yeah. Yeah, fear is a spirit, but see, fear is not so big and bad it can just consume you, but when you start thinking fear and you start talking fear, what you develop is what's called a stronghold. What happens is people begin to get on this roller coaster, this cycle. What if this, and what if this, and what if this, and what if this? God's saying, move, act, do, say, move, act, do. And the person, and then they get their friends are on this track. See, on this track is not, there's not a lot of people on it. God's track, not a lot of people on it. But God's purposing to magnetize this track and get a whole lot of people to do and act on what he's saying. See, when you come, what is God saying to you? What is he saying through me to you? I don't know. People come up, Pastor, you spoke, who was it? Samantha. The Hickmans, they start coming, and she accuses her husband. Have you been calling him and telling him what we've been talking about? I haven't talked to Robert. I wouldn't do it anyway. You know, that stuff don't work. Those people are destined to leave the church. As soon as you preach what the husband wants you to preach, they're gone. I'm not doing that. Half the time, I don't know what I'm going to say next. Aren't you glad? If I showed you my message today, you'd laugh at me. 3 thoughts. and the rest is on God. That's just me. I'm not recommending that you do that if you're called to preach. That's just the way I got to flow. I spend time with God. I love God. And see, my agenda, I got an agenda. It's not hidden. I want you to hear from God. I'm not looking for a bunch of zombies that can't hear from God for themselves. The way you hear from God is, I prefer that you just be determined to hear, okay? I'm going to help you right now. I want you to just be determined to hear from God. If you're determined, you've got to understand He's your Father. He wants